Morning. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different here in the studio. I'm actually packing everything up and getting ready to head out on the road to produce some podcasts. So today I wanted to take you guys through a little bit of like a what's in my camera bag, and we'll get to that in a second, / the best gear for setting up a studio offsite for podcasting. We're workshopping the name. Alright, so for this trip, I have to pack up pretty much an entire studio. Only thing I'm leaving behind is this big aperture light and one microphone. The rest of this stuff is getting packed up into a suitcase down there and a backpack, as well as maybe a carry-on if I decide to bring a sock or underwear as well. We're not going for that long, so we'll see. Now, when it comes to the backpack that I'm taking, I've been rocking the Wandered Provoke 21 liter for the past, I'd say year and a half, and I love that thing. I have beat that thing into the ground. I have been on so many trips and adventures. It's my everyday carry bag. Love it to death. The downside is it doesn't hold as much as I want it to, so I find myself from time to time always fumbling around different camera cubes, where to pack stuff gets separated. It's never a good time. So I decided to splurge a little bit and get the Peter McKinnon travel bag. And no, I didn't get sent this. I wish I did, because it was quite a lot of money. It cost this much of my own money, but hey, you invest in the things you love. I've been eyeing this backpack for way longer than I cared to admit. From the very first time it got announced, I said, I'm gonna get that backpack. And finally, I'm happy to say I was able to. But we're gonna see how much we can fit in here, how practical it is, if I can split up between this and the suitcase. So let's open this bad boy up and start packing it out here. All right, so here is kind of the main body of the bag, and I've set this up kind of sort of how I think I'll be able to fit the most amount of camera gear in here. So I've got the bag all prepped, things ready to go. I also picked up this Peter McKinnon little case thing here, went with the bag, figured I could fit some knickknacks in there. Let's start filling this bad boy up. So first thing we're going to be packing on this trip is obviously the camera bodies themselves. I'm shooting on an A7 IV with a Tamron 17-28. That's going to be packed away with me. But in addition to that, my other two camera angles are going to be an A7 IV with the kit lens, the 28-70, just your standard thing. And then we've got the bad boy, the big one itself, the A7S III with the 16-35 G Master. No, I'm not taking the G Fuel, although I wish I was, because I'll probably end up needing it after this trip. So I think the best way to get this done is probably stack the bodies here like so. Get a nice good fit there. Maybe if I do it opposite, yeah, like this. Maybe if I get something like this going, and these guys can live here like that. Maybe toss the kit lens, the A7 IV kit lens. I like this lens. It's not too bad for a podcast shot where you want a little bit wider. You don't need that really sharp, crisp depth of field. This will more than get the job done. And then maybe let's stick the G Master like this. Maybe the other way, like this, yeah. With another pad there, maybe even do something like that. Let's move on to audio. Let's fill that little slot there in the middle. I have just the thing for it. We are going to grab my audio interface, this guy right here. This is going to help power all the XLR microphones and make sure everybody's recorded. This is the audio interface we use. It is a Behringer. I don't know the full name, but it's great. It's got 4 XLR inputs, volume and gain control, a lot of I/O on the back. Connects to the computer, power, nice, thin, and fits there perfectly. Next up, we've got these bad boys. Now, these are actually going to be our pretty much primary source of light when we're shooting. Let me show you. This is the LumeCube Panel Pro. Absolutely love this thing. Puts out a phenomenal amount of light. It has variable temperatures, so I can set it to whatever I want. Also does RGB, and like I said, got 3 of them, so everybody should be pretty well lit for the most part. So now let's worry about what we're gonna put in these two pockets right here. I think for the most part, I'm gonna just have like little odds and ends live in those mesh pockets. For example, obviously, batteries, can't leave home without those, as well as the charger. We've got my little cable management pouch, as well as my external microphones. In here, we've got an external power bank. We have got some miscellaneous cables, iPhone charger, that sort of thing. The Rode Video Wireless Go 2, absolutely adore these things. These are probably my favorite wireless lav solution, which I should probably grab the lav for these as well. These lavs, these recorders, and I don't know if these guys will fit comfortably in here. So what I might actually do is take this big guy out of here, do this, and then I could probably fit like a hard drive or something. Actually, I know exactly what I'm gonna put in there. And these are gonna live back up here because I access them pretty frequently, so I'd want them at the top. So those guys could live there. And in here, I know exactly what I'll be putting. My external SD card case. Never leave home without this bad boy. Got some extra SD cards ready to go. That guy's gonna live up there. And my Peak Design wrist strap. This thing has saved my life and, well, my camera's life more times than I care to admit. So in this suitcase, first up, we have got one Shure SM7B. I'm gonna pack up the other ones right now. Mic number 2, mic number 3, all going in here. A power strip, absolutely crucial when you're doing on-the-road productions. You never know when you're gonna need a new outlet. Some monitoring headphones. These are the Audio-Technica, very complicated. I forget the make and model of them. Some secondary lighting here, some light stands, as well as 2 GVM LED light panels. These guys are gonna live in here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Always good to count out loud to make sure you are taking the right amount of stuff. It has happened where I've packed more cables than mics and more mics than cables sometimes. Never good either way. In addition to those XLR cables, I've also got 3 long braided HDMI cables. And those are gonna go into this bad boy right here. This is the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro ISO. Probably one of my favorite video recorders I've ever used. I also use the Roland VR4 HD, I believe. This only does video, it's got no audio input, but that's fine because it's small, it gives you individual video files. Mwah. Chef's kiss level quality, really great UI. Big fan of this. Place my 3 tripods in here with my cables above them. If you're doing long or remote recording, these guys are an absolute must. They're a battery, they plug into your camera and they plug into your wall, so you never have to worry about the battery running out. All you gotta do is just hope you have enough space on your SD card and that your camera doesn't overheat. But an absolute must. Now the last batch of things that are actually gonna go in that suitcase are mic arms, which I have to pack up, tape up so they don't explode inside, and mic stands, base mic stands that kind of look like this. This is the base plate. Imagine a mic coming out of here. You never know if you're gonna have a table or if people are gonna have to be leaning over, so it's always good to have both, even though these things are like, I don't know, like easily like 2 pounds each. So they definitely add to the weight overall of the suitcase, but you kind of need to have both. A couple little odds and ends before I zip up the suitcase here. Always gotta have masking tape, gaff tape, something like that. When you're having cables running around, if a lot of people are going back and forth, the last thing you want is somebody tripping over a cable and hurting themselves. But almost more importantly, the last thing you want is somebody tripping over a cable and derailing the production. So tape down your wires, tape them to the floor, absolute must. There are still some last minute things that are gonna go in the Peter McKinnon bag. iPad Air with the pencil. MacBook Pro 16 is gonna go on the back. Camera's gonna slot in here. external hard drive, and then this baby's ready to get zipped up. And I fit a lot in here, a lot more than I could fit in that Wandered bag. And I guess we could call this like a part one. I'm not ready to give like my full review on this. I need to walk around, do a full production, so maybe expect next week I'll sit back down, we'll have a chat about if I really liked this backpack, if this backpack was worth the hype. But so far, I'm enjoying it. It's a nice backpack. Good job, Peter. And there you have it. That's everything I take with me to set up mobile on-the-go studios when I'm recording podcasts in the field. Now, is this the best setup? Maybe. I mean, I came up with it. But in all seriousness, no, there's probably a smaller version of this, and there's definitely a bigger version of this. But in terms of a one-man band, carrying everything, making sure everything is good to go, packing a couple little extra cables here and there, making sure audio is good, light is good, and it looks good, I think this is the most optimal setup. But if you think there's a better setup, let me know down below what you think. I've actually created a kit for all of this, link down below as well, if you guys want to check out the specific products we use here to produce podcasts on the go. Stay tuned for an update on the Peter McKinnon bag, if it was hype or not, and we'll talk again real soon.